The story begins with a mischievous rabbit named Peter, who absolutely loves taking risks and living life on the edge. Peter comes up with a daring plan along with his entire family to sneak into Mr. McGregor's garden and steal fresh carrots and green vegetables. Following the plan carefully, Peter manages to slip into the garden without being noticed. Inside, he listens closely to the instructions given by Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail, dodging Mr. McGregor's watchful eyes and secretly picking vegetables to hand over to Benjamin. You see, Mr. McGregor is a grumpy and cruel man who hates animals with a passion. That's why his entire garden is filled with dangerous traps. Peter skillfully avoids the traps and continues collecting vegetables, but suddenly, a tomato falls into one of the traps. The loud noise alerts Mr. McGregor. He immediately realizes that the rabbits are back again, stealing from his garden. Furious, Mr. McGregor storms into the garden, searching for Peter, determined to kill him. Peter is almost caught, but just in time, his family distracts Mr. McGregor and helps Peter escape. They urge him to leave immediately. Peter starts running away, but suddenly, the hook of his jacket gets stuck in a wire fence. Mr. McGregor rushes toward him, ready to strike, when suddenly, Bea arrives and saves Peter. Bea has a deep love for animals, and just then, it starts to rain, so she brings all the rabbits into her house for safety. Bea is actually a painter who came here for inspiration. Her paintings are a bit unusual, so she mostly paints beautiful portraits of local people just for her own happiness. But those paintings remind Peter of his past. Years ago, his family lived happily together. That entire garden once belonged to Peter's parents, but when Mr. McGregor moved in, he took over everything. One day, when Peter's father went into the garden to find food, Mr. McGregor killed him. That tragedy completely broke Peter's family, and it was his mother who gave Peter that jacket, his father's jacket, as a memory. Lost in these painful memories, Peter becomes deeply emotional. Seeing him sad, Bea promises, "I'll stay with you." Soon the rain stops, and Bea lets the rabbits return home. As Peter walks back with his siblings, he notices something shocking. His jacket is hanging inside Mr. McGregor's garden. Without telling anyone, Peter quietly sneaks back into the garden to retrieve it. That jacket belonged to his father, and he can't leave it behind. Peter manages to grab the jacket and starts heading back. But suddenly, Mr. McGregor catches him. It turns out to be a trap. Mr. McGregor threatens Peter, saying, "Tonight I'm going to cook you and eat you." But then something unexpected happens. Mr. McGregor suddenly collapses and dies on the spot. Peter believes that Mr. McGregor is dead, and he feels relieved, even happy. He rushes back to his family with food and proudly tells them that he killed Mr. McGregor, hoping to be seen as a hero. But the truth is, Peter didn't kill him at all. Mr. McGregor was responsible for his own death. He had been eating junk food for years, which caused a heart attack. With Mr. McGregor gone, Peter and his siblings are finally free. The entire garden now belongs to them. They eat whatever they want, invite their friends over, and throw a wild party inside Mr. McGregor's house, because now there's no one left to stop them. After this, we are introduced to Mr. McGregor's grandson, Thomas. Thomas has been working at a toy store called Harrods for the past 10 years. He's extremely organized and loves keeping everything perfectly in place. One day, the general manager calls him into her office. She had previously told him that this week, he would finally get promoted, but the general manager says, "I've just received some news. Your grandfather has passed away." Thomas looks confused and replies, "I didn't even know I had a grandfather, so just tell me one thing. Did I get the promotion or not?" The general manager answers, "No, you didn't get the promotion." She explains that the promotion has instead been given to the managing director's nephew, Barnabas. Hearing this, Thomas loses his temper and says, "Barnabas is an absolute idiot. How can you give such an important position to someone like him?" The general manager coldly replies, "This is Great Britain. Here, family connections matter more than talent." This completely crushes Thomas. To make things worse, Barnabas himself walks in, rubbing salt in Thomas's wounds. He smugly tells Thomas, "From now on, you'll be working under me. So get back to work. I'll be relaxing in my office." Furious and humiliated, Thomas finally snaps. In anger, he ruins the carefully arranged displays himself and even takes his frustration out on a teddy bear. Seeing this behavior, the general manager fires him on the spot, believing he's completely lost his mind. Meanwhile, Peter and all his friends are partying inside Mr. McGregor's house. Peter even puts up pictures of his mom and dad, telling everyone proudly that Mr. McGregor is finally gone. Back in the city, Thomas is at home, playing the violin, when a package arrives from Windermere. He opens it. Inside are the property documents for Mr. McGregor's house. The house now belongs to Thomas, as he is Mr. McGregor's only living grandson. At first, Thomas has no interest at all. After all, it's just a small village. But the postman tells him that property in Windermere is extremely expensive, and that it's a beautiful place to live. Hearing this, Thomas makes a decision. The very next morning, he leaves for Windermere, planning to sell the house and finally open his own toy store. Thomas arrives in Windermere and takes a taxi to the house. Before selling it, he wants to check its condition. As Thomas enters the house, all the animals panic, realizing a human has returned. They hide inside, terrified. Looking around, Thomas sees garbage everywhere and becomes extremely upset. Suddenly, a pig appears in front of him. Thomas screams in fear and immediately chases all the animals out of the house. Peter is shocked and confused, wondering how this human has the key to the house. Peter's sister realizes the truth and says he must be related to Mr. McGregor. The next morning, Thomas wakes up early and begins cleaning the entire house. He also blocks every secret tunnel and hidden pathway that Peter had created in the garden. Soon after, Beia comes to meet Thomas. She asks him, "Are you related to Mr. McGregor?" Thomas replies, "Yes, he was my grandfather, but I barely even knew him. I'm just fixing this place so I can sell it." Beia smiles and says, "I'm your neighbor. You should enjoy your time here." Then she adds gently, "But please, let the animals come inside too. This land belonged to them long before we ever arrived." Before leaving, Beia gives Thomas a gift, a telescope. She tells him, "Use this to observe animals. Write down everything you see. You'll learn so much about birds and wildlife." Beia opens the garden gate and walks away. Seeing this, Peter and his siblings start heading toward the garden again. But the moment Thomas sees them, he slams the gates shut once more and completely seals off the entire area. Seeing all this, Peter becomes furious. He tells everyone clearly, "I'm not backing down." Taking Benjamin with him, Peter sneaks back into the garden. But Thomas notices what's happening and immediately chases after them, determined to catch and get rid of the rabbits. Peter and Benjamin run and hide inside a storage shed, but Thomas figures out that they're hiding inside a flower pot. Just as he's about to grab them, both rabbits make a run for it. Thomas manages to catch Benjamin and stuffs him into a sack, planning to throw him into the river. Seeing this, Peter jumps into action. Along with his 3 sisters, Peter climbs onto Thomas's car to rescue Benjamin. While Peter's sisters distract Thomas, Peter climbs onto the roof of the car and crawls toward the front. He opens the hood, forcing Thomas to stop the car. Taking advantage of the moment, Peter's sisters pull Benjamin out of the sack. When Thomas returns to throw the sack into the river, he's shocked to find Beia's telescope inside instead. But then, by accident, the telescope slips from his hands and falls into the water. Benjamin explodes in anger at Peter, saying, "I survived today, but I could have died. Life is not a joke." Realizing his mistake, Peter sincerely apologizes. Thomas retrieves the telescope from the water and drives straight to London. In London, Thomas enters a farm and garden supply store and tells the shopkeeper that rabbits are causing serious trouble in his garden. The shopkeeper replies, "We know who you are. You're Beia's neighbor. She told us about you. Beia loves those rabbits deeply, so if you want to scare them away, make sure she doesn't find out." Thomas asks what he should do. The shopkeeper suggests, "An electric fence will do the trick, and to really scare the rabbits, use fireworks." Thomas buys a large supply of fireworks, along with a remote control. As Thomas leaves the store, he unexpectedly runs into Beia. He decides to take her along with him. Watching this from afar, all the rabbits feel heartbroken. Seeing Beia happily talking with Thomas doesn't feel good at all. Beia brings Thomas to her house and offers him some water. Thomas tells her, "I'm allergic to blackberries." Trying to impress Beia, he compliments her paintings and casually says, "Rabbits are dirty and smelly animals." Beia immediately disagrees, saying rabbits are adorable and innocent creatures, and when they apologize, they look especially sweet. She even shows him how rabbits apologize. Slowly, the two begin growing closer. They spend quality time together, laughing and bonding. But Peter doesn't like any of this at all. Beia used to be his best friend, and now seeing her with Thomas hurts him deeply. As Beia and Thomas play games together, they begin sharing personal stories. Beia asks Thomas, "What do you miss most about working at the toy store?" Thomas replies, "I loved helping people. When parents came in to buy toys for their kids, I could tell exactly what they needed just by asking a few questions. Giving people what they're looking for made me truly happy. I love keeping everything perfectly organized." As they keep spending time together, their friendship slowly turns into love. Peter's anger toward Thomas reaches its breaking point. He charges forward to attack Thomas, but Beia catches Peter midway. She says, "I haven't seen you in days." Then she turns to Thomas and asks, "Would you like to hold him?" Thomas can't refuse. He picks Peter up, and Beia smiles, saying, "You both look so adorable together." She steps away to paint them. The moment Beia leaves, a fight breaks out between Peter and Thomas. They punch and kick each other fiercely. Thomas finally grabs Peter and shoves a paintbrush into his mouth, ruining Beia's painting. When Beia returns and sees the mess, she becomes furious with Peter. Thomas adds fuel to the fire by saying, "These filthy rabbits are impossible to control." Hearing this, Beia becomes even angrier. She calls Peter a dirty rabbit and throws him out of the house. Thomas is secretly pleased, but now Peter's anger explodes completely. With rage burning in his eyes, Peter declares war and calls his entire army to prepare for battle. Peter immediately begins training everyone, preparing his army to teach Thomas a lesson. The very next day, they sneak into Thomas's house exactly according to Peter's plan. The moment Thomas sees them, he charges forward to attack, but instead, he falls straight into Peter's traps. Thomas gets badly hurt, writhing in pain, and his condition becomes miserable. Now Thomas is furious too. Meanwhile, Peter and his friends celebrate their small victory. Peter says confidently, "The iron is hot. This is the moment to strike." But when Peter steps outside, he sees Thomas installing an electric fence around the garden. This reminds Peter of something his father once said. Peter tells everyone, "Dad used to say, iron cuts iron, so instead of strength, we should use our brains." Working together, they shut off the power to the electric fence. Now when the rabbits start eating the butter stuck on the fence, nothing happens to them. Thomas watches in complete confusion. Peter and his friends laugh and mock him. Enraged, Thomas rushes to attack them, but Peter secretly turns the electricity back on inside the house. Thomas suddenly gets electrocuted. He panics and runs toward the roof, only to get shocked again. He falls down and passes out. Seeing this, Peter and the others believe that Thomas is dead. Terrified, they immediately leave the area. Later that night, Thomas regains consciousness. Filled with rage, he takes all the fireworks he bought and sneaks into Peter's home. Seeing this, Peter tells everyone to hide. When Thomas searches the house, he finds no one. Just then, Beia arrives. She asks Thomas, "What are you doing here so late at night?" Thomas lies and says, "I was just picking wildflowers." Soon after, Thomas and Beia share a kiss. Watching this, Peter whispers to everyone, "Our final battle is still ahead." Benjamin nervously replies, "I don't think I can do this anymore." Peter reassures him, "You can. Just do exactly what I say." Benjamin says, "Last time I almost died." Peter looks him in the eyes and says, "Trust me, I have a plan." The next morning, Peter and the others start throwing tomatoes at Thomas's house to provoke him and expose his true nature in front of Beia. Following the plan, they also lure Beia outside. Then all the rabbits attack Thomas at once. Thomas can't fight back in front of Beia, so he holds himself back. Soon after, Beia goes inside to paint. That's when the rabbits attack Thomas with blackberries. Thomas begins to choke and struggles to breathe. Quickly, he injects himself with an antidote, saving his life. Now completely furious, Thomas rushes toward Peter's home to grab the fireworks and attack the rabbits. But this is exactly what Peter wanted. Peter's plan is for Beia to see Thomas attacking them with fireworks. However, Beia has her music playing at full volume and hears nothing at all. Thomas catches Peter and starts beating him. Just then, Beia arrives. Thomas lies once again, saying, "A carrot got stuck in his throat. I was just trying to save him." Beia says, "I thought I heard explosions, but I couldn't hear clearly because my music was on." Thomas calmly replies, "I didn't hear anything either. I was right here the whole time." Thomas and Beia decide to go out for dinner together. As they walk, the remote control suddenly falls from Thomas's pocket. Peter notices it and secretly presses the button. In an instant, all the fireworks explode at once. The blast is so powerful that a tree crashes down and falls directly onto Beia's house. Beia's furious. Thomas immediately blames Peter, saying, "He did this. He pressed the button." But Beia replies, "He's just a rabbit." Thomas argues back, "He's clever. He's trying to separate us. They shocked me with electricity. They tortured me. And now this." Beia snaps and says, "You've lost your mind. I actually thought I was starting to like you." She's deeply hurt and angry. Beia apologizes to Peter and takes the rabbits with her. Peter is completely heartbroken. His home is destroyed. Beia's paintings are ruined. Beia gently tells Peter, "I'm sorry about your home. Thomas caused all of this. The worst part is, I started to care about him. Maybe I even loved him, but not anymore." She then says, "I think I need to book a ticket and leave this place." Hearing this, Peter feels crushed. He never imagined things would turn out this way. Peter walks over to his parents' painting and whispers, "I messed up." In his imagination, his parents speak to him. His father says, "You're not trying to take revenge. You're just afraid of losing Beia." Then his mother gently says, "Sharing love doesn't mean losing love. Love never runs out. Listen to your heart and do what it tells you to do." Meanwhile, Thomas returns to Harrods. The general manager greets him and says, "I have good news. You can have your job back." She explains that Barnabas quit due to work pressure. Thomas agrees to return. Back at home, Peter gathers all his friends and says, "I need to fix everything. I'm going to London to bring Thomas back." Peter apologizes to everyone and says, "Until I return, do whatever it takes to stop Beia from leaving." With determination in his heart, Peter sets off for London. Benjamin joins him without hesitation. The two travel by train and reach London. Peter knows Thomas works at Harrods, so they head straight there. The moment Thomas sees Peter and Benjamin, he explodes with anger. He believes they've ruined his entire life and lunges at them. Everyone at Harrods thinks Thomas has gone crazy again and calls security. While chasing Peter, Thomas runs into the employee room. Peter finally speaks honestly and says, "You have to come back with us. Beia's leaving the village." Thomas replies bitterly, "She doesn't even want to see my face. Why would I go back?" Peter answers, "She thinks everything is your fault. but we both know I'm responsible too. He adds, let's go back together and tell her the truth. Peter apologizes sincerely. After a moment, Thomas finally agrees. The three of them rush back to Windermere, facing countless obstacles along the way. They arrive just in time before Beia can leave. Thomas tells Beia, you shouldn't give up your passion and leave the village. You once said everyone has a place in this world. Peter and Benjamin brought me back. They came all the way to London for me, but Beia doesn't believe him. She gets angry and says, you're still lying to me. At that moment, Peter pulls out the remote control and presses the button. Beia is shocked. Peter apologizes to her. Now Beia finally believes Thomas. Suddenly, the new buyers of Thomas's house arrive. Thomas tells them, I don't want to sell the house anymore. But they reply, you can't do that. We already made a deal, and we love this house. That's when Peter gets an idea. With all his friends, he launches a mission to scare the buyers away. When they try to unlock the house, they get shocked. When they finally manage to step inside, they see animals everywhere and panic in fear. Terrified, they immediately cancel the deal and leave. Thomas and Beia are overjoyed, and in the end, they all decide to live together as one big happy family. Peter learned that courage isn't fighting harder, it's admitting your mistakes and protecting the people you care about. If this story touched your heart even a little, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because more beautiful stories are waiting for you. See you in the next one.